real thing that is going to enable us to be free from suffering is actually the Dharma. Not even the Buddha himself can, just by snapping his fingers or something, liberate us from our problems and suffering. But the Dharma, meaning the techniques by which we improve and transform the mind, as successful as we are in doing that, that's how successful we'll be in abandoning suffering and gaining happiness. Okay? So, even the Buddha himself, he still, although he is, praised and worshipped by the beings of the three realms, he himself still, pays homage to the Dharma, the teachings. Yeah. So.
So we should take full opportunity of Venerable Namjong being here. He's a Western practitioner studying in a Tibetan university in southern India, having been relocated from Tibet after the trauma of the 50s in Tibet. So as Indian citizens, most of us here, we should really think and pray that we can develop this kind of motivation and study. But then some people from this country, so the Dharma can really come back to India and be practiced and studied, practiced, taught also by Indian practitioners. So we're very grateful to the Tibetans, first of all, for preserving the Dharma, bringing it back, and then for Western students like Venerable Namjong, who's painstakingly studying for 9 years at Seda Monastery, and perhaps another 9 or 10 or more years, who knows, but already teaching and benefiting people. So let's be very grateful for that and make the most of it. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Venerable, for coming, and everyone who organized it, and thank all of you for coming to the teaching. So we request you to continue with your teaching on how to subdue the mind of anger.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm a little bit hopeful that some more people will be trickling in. But anyway, the early bird gets the worm, you know that expression? Okay, anyway. It's just an expression. So let's begin just with a little bit of meditation like we did yesterday. Yeah? So this type of meditation we discussed in a bit more detail yesterday, but it's called mindfulness of the breath meditation. So the newcomers, have you had experience with meditation before?
Just a little.
Just a little?
Yeah. Just a little.
Just a little?
I have.
Nice. Okay, so anyway, I won't go into the whole detail that we did yesterday, but just get into a comfortable sitting position with your back straight, okay? And then what we're going to be doing is called mindfulness of the breath meditation, meaning we're focusing on the breath. We're using the breath as the object of our meditation. But when we say we're using the breath as the object of meditation, what we really mean is there are some sensations in the body as we breathe in and out. Either you'll notice the abdomen rising and falling, or the space in the nostrils and upper lip area, there'll be some coolness as the air goes over the skin, yeah? So hone your mind, focus your mind on one of those two places, yeah? And just become aware of those sensations. Now, one kind of tip that is, I find useful, if we have to maintain a balance between too tight a focus on the object and too loose a focus. But if it's too loose, then your mind will wander off. So one thing that I find helpful is try to become aware of the very split second where the inhalation becomes exhalation, and so forth. So you're watching it quite precisely And if you're able to identify that point or become aware of it, then I think it's a good level of concentration and awareness on it. Okay. When your mind, if your mind, I should say, wanders off to another object, notice that and gently bring it back to the object. And then, as we mentioned yesterday, also counting the breaths is helpful for beginners. So count the exhalations, and then when you get to 10, start over on 1. Okay? So today, we'll also just do for a very brief 4 minutes. Okay? So at the beginning of the session, just set your motivation, your determination to be able to focus the mind on the object for these next 4 minutes. And are you leaning against the wall? Can you not? Is it okay? Or, huh? Okay, try just 4 minutes. Just 4 minutes. Because, and even those who are sitting on a bench or a chair, it's good to even just come up away and try not to use that the elbow rest, but just keep your hands either on your knees like this or in the lap. Okay? 4 minutes. Okay. So bring your attention back to the room, come out of your meditation.
Is that 4 minutes?
Yes.
You like it?
Hmm?
Didn't feel like it.
Felt shorter?
I felt it was a few seconds.
Nice. Then you have no excuse to meditating 4 minutes every day. Right? I also was surprised. I opened my eyes, I'm like, oh, but it's been 4 minutes. Well, I have to admit, the clock said 32, and then when I opened, 36. But now it's 37. So, at least 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, anyway. Okay? All right. It's nice. For me, the meditation in the morning is a little bit, how do you say, the proliferating discursive thoughts are a bit less in the morning. So when the mind gets distracted a lot, then it feels like a lot longer, Okay, so we're going to be basically doing what we did last night, very abbreviated, okay? So what did we do last night? We first got our mind into a little bit calm state by doing meditation. Then what did we do?
When we talked about anger and how to go about it.
No, that was later. The second thing we did.
Motivation.
Yes, you're right, so be confident about it. Motivation, yes. So we talked about our motivation for coming here, okay? So now we're with the new people, have a chance. Yeah, what is your motivation for coming here?
To know more about this practice.
Okay, so why do you want to know more about?
For my own betterment, for my own, to get to know myself better.
And why do you want to get to know yourself better?
Because that is the ultimate goal I have.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's press pause on that one. And then you two?
I think to explore my own mind, to explore ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and a more peaceful place.
Okay. Yeah?
I think the same, and something similar, just to quieten the mind, to find to center and to get rid of what you said, the proliferating thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's a good start. Okay. Now, I just want to expand on that a little bit. Yeah. So, why would we want to get rid of proliferating thoughts and find peace of mind? Is because we want happiness and we don't want suffering, right? And even this kind of getting to know the self, okay, that can be useful. It is very useful to get to know about reality. But even getting to know about reality is from the perspective of that knowledge will help us obtain lasting happiness, right? Because as we mentioned yesterday, one of the key kind of principles of Buddhist thought is that all of our suffering is ultimately rooted in the mind, yeah? Not in the external experiences that we have. And not only that, but all of our suffering comes from distorted ways of viewing ourself and other phenomena, yeah? So all of these disturbing emotions like anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, and so forth, is because we have a mistaken view of reality, okay? When we have a mistaken view of reality, then these negative emotions arise. Those negative emotions then impel us to create actions or do actions that are then harmful for ourselves and others, okay? All right. So, okay, so that's the first step of the motivation. We're here to, get some, trying to develop our minds so that we can develop antidotes to disturbing emotions. Then, as we develop a mind, we'll be of less trouble to others and to ourselves. But at the very end of all this, it's like the more we develop ourselves, the more beneficial we'll be able to be to other living beings, So it's not just that we have a motivation to benefit others, but we also have to develop ourselves so our capacity to benefit others also increases, So this is another key concept within the Buddhist thought, that there's like two sides of the path. There's this sort of what they call the method, which is the compassion and the bodhicitta, and practicing generosity and doing all these the first 5 perfections that we mentioned yesterday: generosity, ethical discipline, patience, which is the main thing we're talking about here, and then enthusiastic effort and meditation. And then, but we also have to combine that with wisdom that knows about reality, Yes, and then as we continue to develop ourselves, then when we get to the very pinnacle of that development of our potential as human beings, then that very pinnacle of development is what we call Buddhahood, right? So even the Buddha, it's not some kind of mystical, like Buddha's up on a cloud somewhere, right? Looking down at us, maybe with a clipboard, checking out our, like the scorekeeper of our negative karma or something. But Buddha just is our own innate potential to free our mind of all faults and develop all of our good qualities. Yeah, when we do that, then that's Buddha. It's very, very famously, Buddha was once asked, "Are you a god or are you a man?" And the Buddha answered, "I am awake." So, even I think the etymology of Buddha has this awaken, right? Awaken from what? Not just sleeping in on a Saturday and therefore coming late to the session, but awakening from our ignorance. Our ignorance that, not only ignorance that just doesn't know about things, but more detrimental is it ignorance that imputes or reifies a level of existence that phenomena do not have. You know? You understand? So this actually, His Holiness the Dalai Lama often mentions that one of his neuroscientist friends, I forget his name, but when we get angry, you know, what happens is we view the object of our anger as being like 100% bad, you know? It's 100% bad. This person, whatever, did something to me, they're 100% bad, therefore, I want to harm them back. I want to hurt them back, right? Now, if that person was 100% bad from that person's own side, then maybe harming them, getting rid of them would help, right? But it's not the case. Actually, there's one neuroscientist that Paul Ekman, she believes, and I believe her. So Paul Ekman said that actually 90% when we're angry, 90% of that is just pure mental distortion and fabrication, right? So that's also what Shantideva is saying, okay? So that is why we need to learn about this and study, so that we're able to identify these various mental mistakes, these mental distortions that we're bringing to the table when we get angry. Then when we come to understand these mental distortions, when they arise, we don't have to believe in them, right? We don't have to let them push us around and bully us into doing things that then are ultimately harmful for ourselves and others, okay? But it's not just learning about it, right? But then we cultivate what's called the three kinds of wisdom. There's a wisdom arising from hearing, yeah? Wisdom arising from contemplation, and wisdom arising from meditation. So we're going to try, and this is why I feel comfortable calling this a workshop, is because we're going to try to incorporate all three. I'm going to be talking about and what we started last night, talking about the text, yeah? Then that's the wisdom arising from hearing, okay? But then we also do contemplation, thinking about, okay, Shantideva says this, what do I think about it? Is this true in my experience, you know? So this is also a very unique feature of the Buddhist thought, where the Buddha himself said, "Oh, you monks and scholars, just like a goldsmith would only buy gold after rubbing it, cutting it, and scorching it, so you too should only adopt my words after thorough analysis, not merely out of respect for me." You know? So this, I think, is a very, very wonderful and unique aspect here. Because, as I said right at the beginning, you know, it's the Dharma that ultimately is going to free us from the suffering, not the Buddha himself, right? It says in another sutra that the Buddhas do not wash away our sins with water, they do not remove their sufferings with their hands, nor do they transfer their realizations to another mind stream, but the Buddhas liberate sentient beings through the teaching of reality. Okay?